Hey guys, SFP here, and welcome to episode 11 of my FIFA 15 DC United career mode. And as we get started, we're still in the transfer window, but these are the last couple of days. And at the moment, I think I'm happy with the transfers I've made. I got a quality goalkeeper, even though I'm pretty sure I don't need one because I have Hamid here, and I see him staying here for the foreseeable future. Then I believe I also got a center back who I actually could use for depth. He's probably interchangeable with Burmam as well. And lastly, I got a midfielder who my midfield is pretty stacked already as it is, but I figure I'll be able to use him ever so often, and hopefully he'll grow in experience, and I'll be able to sell him for more money in the long run. So those are, I guess, future projects, I guess. And here we go with I believe, the last game of the Atlantic Cup here. I believe I've won both games against the New York Red Bulls, so hopefully I'll make it a clean 3 for 3 here. I must say, though, that at the same time, I am watching the Chicago Fire versus Toronto FC game, and I must admit that I actually thought Toronto would win easily. I expected Chicago to be a different team than we've seen them in the last, not the last two, but the first two games. Because I think the game against the Philadelphia Union, which they won, was a nice pick me up for them, and I think I thought they would carry that confidence that they had from that game into this one. Except I thought that Toronto would still win. However, at the moment, Chicago Fire is actually winning 3-2, and I believe Warren Creavalle just got sent off, so that makes things a little difficult for Toronto. But if Toronto is to be one of those favorite teams to win MLS Cup, then they should be able to beat teams like Chicago Fire. And no offense to the Chicago Fire, I think they're more talented than what the results showed. And I think Maloney's actually getting into his own, and the other DPA, the Ghanaian, I can't remember his name. I think it's Akpam, has done very well in this game, and he's been a standout. And there we go with the first opportunity of the game, which I managed to only hit the post, and that would have been a beautiful goal had I been more lucky with it. And now here with New York's shot, and it's a little wide there, but Felipe coming from the Montreal Impact in that big switch where three players were traded. He was on a nice steal there and can Doyle finish it? No. What a weak shot, and Espindola tries as well. Speaking about DC United, I managed to watch the game against the Orlando City last night, and I was totally expecting Orlando to win. But let's first enjoy this nice, beautiful goal here by, I think, a nice service there by Espindola. And who was it there? Was it Silva? It was our captain, Bobby Boswell. And what makes this goal even more beautiful is the fact that the guy on the post tried to block it, but unfortunately he couldn't. Anyways, as I was saying, I actually watched the game last night, and I thought Orlando would win because they seem to be a team that plays well. However, their results don't reflect how well or how dominant they are on the field. And DC United is a team that is a team of ebbs and flows. They have a lot of ups and downs, kind of like a roller coaster. And so since they won that last game against LA, I figured that they would lose this one. But no, they managed to win in the last minute of the game, actually, and by a goal by Luis Silva, who is one of DC United's best players at the moment. I was actually unaware that he was able to play for this game, and so I was quite surprised and gladly surprised that he managed to, one, be able to join the team on the field and be able to contribute immediately. Now, hopefully, once Espindola gets ready and his suspension is over, we'll be able to have that nice duo up and running at the moment. And here we go. I managed to win. So 3 for 3 for the Electric Cup, which is great because we know the Pink Cows. They're obviously a team that I don't like. Now, I actually did like Mike Petke, which doesn't make any sense because he's like the embodiment of what New York is. or what the New York team back in the Metro Stars era were, but he, I don't know, he has some type of charisma. I don't know what it is, but he seems like a very likable guy. And now with Jesse Marsh, I think they're actually better coached. I think Jesse Marsh, like I said in previous videos, I think he's a better tactician than Mike Pecky, and so far he's proven that he is. Well, anyways, and going back to the Orlando game, you know, I'm a bit bummed for them because they don't seem to have the home field advantage that they need. Or I guess I shouldn't say that, but I don't know what it is. Whether it's the pressure to play against the crowd, because the crowd is awesome. You know, mad respect to the Orlando City fans there. You guys actually make a good environment to play in. However, I don't know. It seems that it's having an adverse effect on them because they haven't won a single game at home yet. They tied New York City FC, and that was barely towards the end of the game when they were down a goal, and then they lost in the last few minutes of the game against Vancouver a few weeks back, and now it's the same story with DC. So hopefully they'll be able to make the adequate changes and be able to finish off a game, whether it's I guess obtaining a draw or managing to get a victory. And here we go with the monthly updates of the statuses of the players, and we saw that some players actually did grow a couple of stat points there, and hopefully they keep on growing. That way, the better they play, the more eyes will get on themselves, and we'll be able to sell them for more than what it's worth. And speaking of Chicago Fire, it looks like it's my turn to see if I'm able to take advantage and get a win here. Although the Chicago Fire, I don't see them. I think they're in the bottom of the table, but I can double check. We'll see when we actually get in the game, because if I'm not mistaken, during the last few games here, they actually show us a table before every game, so we'll be able to see where we are on the table. And here we go. We are fifth in our last spot, and Chicago is actually ninth, but we have a game in hand. Although they're 12 points away, so I don't see them making too much of a difference. I don't think they'll squeeze in the playoffs at this point. There's only 6 more games, and they'd be very dependent on other teams basically dropping points. And here we go with our lineup, which is a Team B lineup, because I'm trying to rotate my team so that everyone has a couple of games under their belt per season. Now, obviously, the starting 11 will have more games, but we have to share the wealth here. I apologize for this long transition, guys. I think I might have actually left the control unattended for a while as I was attending to something else. But here we go with the game. And Estrada, Estrada with a shot there, but it hit the top of the post. Speaking of Estrada, he's no longer on the team. So what I'm actually thinking about doing, guys, is selling players on, at least for this season, selling players that are no longer on the actual roster for DC. So that means Estrada is probably going to get sold, and a nice attempt there, but a nice calm save by Sean Johnson there. So Estrada's obviously gone. Porter as well. And with Porter gone, I'll be able to switch the Costa Rican striker Arrieta's number, because he's actually 19, not 24. And I believe there's one more player I should be selling as well that I can't put my finger on at the moment. and I'll be able to get more money there. And many of you guys have been wondering, will probably be wondering why I haven't spent any actual budget money on transfers. Oh, and what a nice save there by Dykstra. That was a close one by Kosic. Oh, two hands there, and Boswell's congratulating Dykstra there on that nice save, and it's a corner here with Michael Stevens taking it, the ex-Galaxy player. Oh, it got tripped. From Seaton. And that's game. It's a 1-1 draw here. So basically, no one moves an inch on the table there, but it's fun. As long as I get that fifth spot and manage to get to the playoffs, that's all that's going to matter. And it looks like I'm going to have a second go around against the Chicago Fire. I'm not a big fan of these back-to-back games against the same team. I've in real life it doesn't make any sense, and it's kind of frustrating because there's no more excitement to it, at least in my perspective. Because you've seen the team play once, and playing them again, there isn't going to be much of a change, and in fact, it could probably hinder the game because the opponent will actually know what to expect to a certain extent. So the excitement there is a little bit gone. But hey, this is a video game, so I guess the actual excitement shouldn't vary as much. And I think I'll be actually using my starting 11 team, so hopefully I will have a better result this time.
Hello and welcome to Major League Soccer. Today it's Chicago Fire against DC United. So without further ado, we're off to Chicago. Here's your commentary team.
Toyota Park looks beautiful, and I hope I said it correctly. Toyota Park. Hey, look, I'm actually fourth. Fourth, actually, I guess that was a lie. I guess I actually did move up a spot. Nonetheless, I think it's Toyota Park, or is it Toyota Stadium? I don't remember. I'm frustrated at the fact that FC Dallas and the Chicago Fire both have Toyota as their sponsor for their stadium. Because it gets quite confusing. I kind of miss Pizza Hut Park. It had a weird ring to it, but it was unique. Can you imagine a stadium in Spain or England being called Pizza Hut Park? Because I couldn't actually. That'd be so weird. And I'm sure European soccer fanatics and maybe some Latin American fanatics there might be a little weirded out by the name. I guess it's part of being American. I guess having companies sponsor the stadium because I know a lot of football teams do it. I'm not sure about baseball. I'm not familiar. I haven't seen much baseball, whether it's live or TV, and I'm not even sure about hockey or basketball. Well, actually, never mind. I think basketball. I think I'm familiar because I'm pretty sure the Verizon Center is where the Wizards play. So I guess it does fall under the basketball rules as well. And a nice center for Eddie Johnson and a nice column save there by Sean Johnson. No relation. Oh, Harry Ship. Harry Ship is such a quality youngster. I actually thought he should have won Rookie of the Year last season. Well, actually, technically, I was going for Birnbaum, but if Birnbaum didn't win out, I figured Harry Ship would have won. And I guess I don't want to say disappointingly, but the Canadian Teshua Akindele won the FC Dallas player, and I don't think he deserved to win just because he had one good month and then the rest of it was lackluster. At least with Harry Ship, he had moments where he shined, and then he kind of he managed to die out a bit, which is why I was going for Birnbaum because I thought he had more of a solid season. But the way he affected games was more prominent and at least more balanced out than Teshua Canelli, who only, in most people's eyes, only had one good month where he scored a couple of goals. I guess critical goals, I guess I should mention, but the month. And I want to say, though, that what might have influenced the results a little bit was the fact that he got the game winner against the Vancouver Whitecaps during the playoffs, which in reality, it shouldn't have affected it because it's the postseason. and this was a regular season award, and so there shouldn't be an effect from the postseason going into this award. But things just happen, and when you make the votes at the moment, whatever name pops out tends to get the vote, and so whoever's hot at the moment tends to get the vote. Anyways, that's it for this episode, guys. Thank you for watching, and remember to stay tuned for the next one coming up momentarily.